You can give your whole life to your family, brothers and sisters, and the day you finally buy yourself one peaceful dream, the people you carried will call it selfish. My name is Harold Whitaker. I'm 72 years old, and I live outside Franklin, Tennessee, about 25 minutes south of Nashville, in a brick ranch house my wife Linda and I bought back when our knees didn't make noise, and our children still believed a scraped elbow was the end of the world. I spent 46 years as an electrician. Not the fancy kind who wears a clean shirt and points at blueprints all day. I mean attics in July, crawl spaces in February, church basements with bad wiring, restaurant kitchens where the grease had been on the walls longer than the owner had been alive. I started with a tool belt and a used Ford van. By the time I retired, I had 12 men working for me, 3 service trucks, and a small office, with my name on the glass. Whitaker Electric. Nothing flashy. Just honest work. I raised 2 children in that house. My son, Trevor, is 43. My daughter, Elise, is 39. Trevor sells commercial insurance up in Nashville. Elise runs a home staging business that looks better on Instagram than it does on paper. They are smart people, capable people. At least, that is what I told myself for many years while my checking account quietly made their lives smoother than they deserved. Linda and I were married 49 years that spring. We had talked about seeing the country since before our kids were born. I had a coffee can in the garage once with a piece of masking tape on it that said, Grand Canyon money. I put 20s in it when I could. Then Trevor needed braces. Then Elise needed tutoring. Then the roof needed replacing. Then college came. Then weddings. Then down payments. Then grandbabies. That coffee can disappeared somewhere around 1,998, and I never saw the Grand Canyon. That's how life goes when you're a father. You tell yourself there will be time later. Then later gets a little closer than you expected. 2 years after I sold my business, I had what the doctor called a warning. Not a heart attack, he said. Not yet. Just a warning. I was sitting in our den watching a Braves game when my left arm went numb and the room tilted. Linda drove me to the hospital in her slippers. I remember looking at her hands on the steering wheel and thinking, that woman has waited long enough. After that, I started walking every morning. I ate less fried food. I took my pills. I also started looking at motorhomes online. Not the $1 million kind celebrities drive. I'm not that man. I found a 2021 Winnebago Adventurer, 33 feet, used but clean, low miles, 1 owner, stored indoors. It had a queen bed, a small kitchen, 2 recliners, and enough room for Linda to bring half the house if she wanted. The dealer was in Murfreesboro. I visited it 3 times before I told anyone. The 4th time, I brought Linda. She stepped inside, ran her hand over the countertop, opened the little pantry, looked back at me, and smiled like she was 23 again. Harold, she whispered, we could really do it. Yes, ma'am, I said. We could. I paid $118,000 cash. Before anybody gets to clutching pearls, understand this. I didn't borrow it. I didn't touch our emergency fund. I didn't touch retirement income. I didn't sell the house. I used money from the sale of my business that I had set aside for exactly one thing, living while I was still alive. The day I drove that Winnebago home, I parked it beside the detached garage, right where my old work vans used to sit. I shut off the engine and just stayed in the driver's seat for a while. The windshield was so wide it made my own driveway look like a destination. I put both hands on the wheel, looked out over the hood, and for the first time in years, I felt something I had not allowed myself to feel. Free, not rich, not reckless. Free. Linda came outside with 2 glasses of lemonade. She stood in the driveway looking up at that motorhome, then at me, and she started laughing. Not because it was funny, because sometimes joy surprises you so hard it comes out that way. We're finally going, she said. We're finally going, I told her. That feeling lasted until the following Sunday. Trevor came over after church with his wife, Dana, and their youngest boy, Parker. Elise came 20 minutes later in her white Lexus SUV, the one she always said was necessary for her business image. Neither one of them had been invited. That was the first sign. The second sign was the way Trevor got out of his truck and didn't say hello. He just stared at the Winnebago. Elise stepped out of her Lexus wearing sunglasses too big for her face and stood beside him. They looked like two appraisers sent by a bank. I was on the porch with my coffee. Linda was inside putting biscuits in the oven. Parker ran over to me, hugged my leg, and asked if the bus had a TV in it. I told him it had too. He thought I was the richest man in Tennessee. Trevor did not. "Dad," he said, still looking at the motorhome, "tell me that's not yours." I took a sip of coffee. "All right. That's not mine." He looked at me. I smiled. But I'd be lying. Elise took off her sunglasses slowly. "You bought an RV?" "A motorhome," I said. "There's a difference, depending on who you ask." "How much?" Trevor asked. I should have said, "None of your business." That would have saved time. But fathers are slow learners when it comes to disrespect from their own children. 118, I said. Elise made a sound like somebody had stepped on her foot. $118,000, Trevor said. "Yes. For that? For your mother and me." That should have ended it. A decent son might have said, "Good for you, Dad." A decent daughter might have said, "Mom must be excited." Instead, my two grown children looked at each other the way they used to look at each other when they had broken something, and were deciding whether to blame the dog. Trevor walked closer to the motorhome and looked at the tires, the windows, the shine of it. "You're spending like you're 25, he said. Elise crossed her arms. "Dad, this is a lot. You're not thinking clearly." I felt my coffee cup warm in my hand. "I'm thinking just fine," I said. Trevor turned around. "Are you? Because from where I'm standing, you're burning through our future." There it was. Our future. Not my savings, not my retirement, not my dream with my wife. Our future. Linda had come to the screen door by then. I could see her through the mesh, one hand holding a dish towel. She heard it. I know she did, because her face changed. "Trevor," she said softly, warning in her voice. But Elise had already stepped in. "We're not trying to hurt your feelings, Dad. We're worried. You and Mom need to be careful. You can't just start throwing money around because you got bored in retirement." I looked at my daughter. This was the same daughter whose business taxes I had covered the year before because she said one bad quarter would ruin her. The same daughter whose Lexus lease had my bank routing number behind it. The same daughter whose phone, insurance, storage unit, and website fees somehow still floated through my accounts every month. "You think I bought this because I was bored?" I asked. Trevor sighed, like I was the child and he was tired of explaining life to me. "We're saying you need to slow down. Cut back. Be responsible." "Cut back," I repeated. "Yes," Elise said quickly. "Exactly." Linda opened the door. "Why don't we all come inside and eat? This isn't the time." Trevor didn't look at her. "Mom, we're trying to protect you too." That one got under my skin in a way the rest had not. Protect her. From me. I looked at Linda. Her eyes were wet, but she said nothing. That hurt, too, but not because she agreed with them. Linda has always hated conflict. She can stand a storm, a surgery, a funeral, a bank crisis, but she cannot stand raised voices between her children and me. She folds herself in half, trying to keep peace. I set my coffee down on the porch rail. "All right," I said. Trevor blinked. "All right, what?" "All right. I hear you. I'll cut back." Elise's shoulders loosened. Trevor gave a short nod like he had accomplished something noble. "Good," he said. "That's all we're saying." "No," I said. "I understand." They came inside and ate biscuits like nothing had happened. Parker asked if he could sleep in the motorhome one day. Linda said maybe. Trevor talked about a new client. Elise complained about how expensive everything had gotten. I sat at the head of my table, buttered one biscuit, and listened to two adults who had just called my dream irresponsible while eating food my wife cooked under the roof I paid for. That night, Linda went to bed early. She kissed my forehead and said, "Please don't stay mad." "I'm not mad," I told her. She looked at me for a long moment. "You're something worse," she said. She was right. I went to my office, the little room off the laundry area where I kept old invoices, tax folders, and a framed photo of my first service van. I opened my laptop. I pulled up every bank account, every auto payment, every transfer, every family plan, every little subscription that had attached itself to me like barnacles on a boat. 37. That was the number. 37 active monthly payments that benefited Trevor or Elise, some small, some not small at all. Trevor's boat storage, Elise's Lexus lease gap, Parker's private baseball coaching, Dana's phone line because Trevor had added her to our family plan years ago and never left, Elise's web hosting, Elise's business insurance, Trevor's country club dues, disguised as client development, until I got tired of hearing about it. 2 streaming bundles, a pest control plan for Elise's townhouse, a quarterly landscaping bill for Trevor's place when he was between cash flow cycles, a credit card minimum that was supposed to be one-time help and had somehow become a habit, 37 soft pillows under grown people. I did not cancel them all that night. A man should never swing an axe when he is angry. I printed everything first, then I slept. On Monday morning, I called my accountant. On Tuesday, I called my attorney. On Wednesday, I opened a new checking account that Trevor and Elise did not know existed and moved our household payments there. On Thursday, I sat with Linda at the kitchen table and told her more than I had ever told her before. I showed her the list. She put on her reading glasses, read the first page, then the second. "Harold," she whispered. "I know." "How long?" "Some of it, 15 years. Some less, some more." She touched Trevor's name on the paper. "I thought that club thing ended." "So did I." Then he said it helped business. She looked up. "And Elise's car?" "I was supposed to help 6 months." Linda closed her eyes. "I didn't know it was this much," she said. "Neither did I until I put it all in one place." She sat very still. Then, because she is a mother, the first thing she said was not about me. It was about them. "They'll panic." "Yes. Parker's baseball? I'll pay through the end of this season. He's a child. He didn't insult me in my own driveway." Her chin trembled a little. "And after that, Trevor can decide if his son needs a private hitting coach more than he needs country club lunches." She folded the papers. Her hands were shaking. "Harold, I don't want to lose our children." I reached across the table and took her hand. "Neither do I. But I'm not going to keep buying their love, one automatic payment at a time." She cried then, quietly, not because she disagreed, because she knew I was right, and sometimes the truth hurts worse when it arrives late. The first payment I stopped was Trevor's boat storage. He had bought that boat 5 years earlier after telling me it would be good for client relationships. He used it maybe 6 times a summer. I paid the storage because he said the marina required auto pay, and he was sorting out accounts. I called the marina and removed my card. 4 days later, my phone rang at 8:13 inches the morning. "Dad, did your card expire?" "Good morning, Trevor. I'm serious. The marina just called. The storage payment didn't go through." "That's unfortunate. Can you check it? They said there's a late fee after Friday." "I'd call them back then." Silence. "What does that mean?" "It means I'd call them back. You pay that storage." "I did." "What changed?" "I'm cutting back." Another silence, heavier this time. "Dad, come on. Have a good day, son." I hung up and went back to reading the paper. The sports section did not care about Trevor's boat. Elise lasted until the following week. Her website renewal failed first, then the business software she used to schedule staging consultations. Then the Lexus payment hit her account instead of mine, because I had removed myself as backup payment. She called Linda first. I was in the garage checking tire pressure on the motorhome when Linda came outside holding her phone like it had bitten her. "It's Elise." I figured. "She's crying." She does that when math arrives. Linda gave me a look, but not a sharp one, a tired one. I wiped my hands on a rag and took the phone. "Hi, honey. Dad, what is going on?" "My business software got shut off, my car payment drafted from my account, and I have a client walkthrough tomorrow. I can't run my business like this. You should call the software company and update your billing." "Dad." "Yes? You know I'm tight right now." "I do." "Then why would you do this without telling me?" I leaned against the workbench and looked at the old photo of my first van hanging on the wall. "Because you told me to cut back." "I didn't mean my business." "What did you mean?" "I meant the motorhome. I meant unnecessary things." "Your Lexus is necessary?" "I use it for work." "Then your work should pay for it." She started crying harder. That sound used to undo me. Every father knows the sound. Your little girl cries, and something ancient in your chest tells you to fix the world before the next tear falls. But Elise was not 7 years old anymore. She was 39, and those tears had become a key she knew fit my lock. Not that day. I love you, I said. But I am not your business plan anymore. She hung up on me. The next 2 weeks were a parade. Trevor texted screenshots of late notices. Elise left voicemails that started sweet and ended sharp. Dana sent Linda a long message about how family should communicate before making financial decisions that affect everyone. I almost admired that one. The woman had lived on our phone plan for 9 years and still thought my bank account was a committee. Then came Sunday dinner. Not the final one. Not yet. This was the one where they tried to act reasonable. Trevor and Elise came together. That alone told me they had been talking. Trevor wore a sport coat, which he only does when he wants to be taken seriously. Elise brought flowers for Linda, grocery store daisies, still in plastic wrap. We sat in the den. Linda made coffee. Nobody touched it. Trevor leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Dad, we need to talk about what's happening. I agree. He looked relieved. This is getting out of hand, Elise said. We understand you were upset about the motorhome. I wasn't upset about the motorhome. You know what I mean. No, honey, I don't think you know what you mean. Trevor held up a hand. Let's not do that. We're all adults here. That nearly made me laugh. He continued. You've made your point. We should have phrased things better. But cutting off payments without warning is extreme. Which payments? I asked. He frowned. What? Which payments are you referring to? All of them. There were 37. I want to know which ones you believe I'm obligated to keep paying. Elise looked at Trevor. Trevor looked at Linda. Linda looked down at her coffee. Dad, Trevor said, slower now. This isn't about obligation. It's about family. Family, I repeated. Yes. Was it family when you called my motorhome burning through our future? He stiffened. I was worried. You were counting. The room went quiet. Elise stood. I knew this was pointless. Linda reached for her. Honey, sit down. No, Mom. He wants to punish us because we questioned him. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. The expensive blouse, the highlighted hair, the keys to a Lexus she could not afford hanging from her finger. She looked like success, as long as you didn't open the books. I'm not punishing you, I said. I'm introducing you to your own bills. She left first. Trevor followed, because Trevor always follows the loudest person in the room. Linda stood at the window and watched their cars leave. They're angry, she said. Yes. Are you sure this is the only way? No, I said, but it's the only way I haven't tried. That night, I called my attorney again. Her name is Marion Price, and she is the kind of woman who can say, that would be unwise, in a tone that makes a grown man sit straighter. I told her everything. The payments, the motorhome, the confrontation, the word future. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, Harold, do your children have access to any of your accounts? No. Do they know where your documents are? Some. Does Linda have durable power of attorney set up correctly? Yes, but it's old. Then we update everything. Not because you're angry, because you're awake. Awake. That word sat with me. Over the next 3 weeks, I became very awake. We updated our wills. We created a revocable living trust. We named Marion's firm and my nephew Raymond as successor trustees, not Trevor, not Elise. We put clear conditions on distributions, not cruel conditions, adult conditions. Stable employment or verifiable self-employment income for 24 months. No active lawsuit against the estate. No unsecured debt over a set amount without a repayment plan. No distribution for luxury purchases. Grandchildren's education protected separately. If Trevor or Elise contested the trust, their share would reduce to a token amount, and the rest would go to a veterans housing charity and a trade school scholarship fund. Linda signed every page. Her hand shook at first. Then it steadied. When we got home from the attorney's office, she stood beside the motorhome in the driveway for a long time. I helped make this mess, she said. I stood beside her. We both did. I thought I was keeping them close. I know. She wiped under one eye. I think we taught them the wrong price for love. That was the moment my wife came back to my side. Not against our children, never that. But with me, finally with me. The news about the trust got out, because families leak worse than old roofs. My nephew Raymond mentioned to his wife that he had been asked to serve as trustee. His wife mentioned it to her sister at a baby shower. Her sister happens to cut Dana's hair. By Tuesday afternoon, Trevor knew enough to be scared and not enough to be smart. My phone started buzzing before supper. Trevor, Dad, call me. We need to clear something up. Elise, Mom said you changed the will. Please tell me that's not true. Dana, this is going to damage the family. I didn't answer any of them. By Friday, Trevor was suddenly free to come help clean gutters. He had not cleaned my gutters since he was in high school and wanted concert money. Elise stopped by with Linda's favorite peach preserves from a little shop in Leiper's Fork. She hugged her mother too long and told me I looked healthy. I thanked them both. I did not mention the trust. I did not mention the payments. I let them perform concern like actors who had lost the script but still wanted applause. Then I picked a Saturday. Not Sunday this time. Sunday lets people hide behind church and lunch and football. Saturday afternoon has nowhere to run. I called Trevor and Elise on Thursday evening. Come to the house Saturday at 3, I said. No spouses, no children, just you two. Trevor asked, Is this about the trust? It's about the truth. Elise asked if she should bring anything. Bring a notebook, I said. She laughed nervously. I did not. Saturday came bright and hot. Linda made iced tea but no food. That was deliberate. Food makes people comfortable. I did not need them comfortable. I needed them present. They arrived in separate cars, which told me they had been arguing. Good. People who argue before a hard conversation usually have fewer lies ready. Trevor came in first. Elise followed. Linda sat in her chair by the front window, wearing the blue cardigan she wears when she is trying to be brave. I had everything on the coffee table. A binder, bank records, a summary sheet, the trust documents, a yellow legal pad with my own handwriting on it. Trevor looked at the binder like it might explode. Sit down, I said. They sat. I did not raise my voice. A raised voice gives people something to fight. A calm voice gives them nowhere to hide. Back in June, I began, the two of you stood in my driveway and told me I was burning through your future because I bought a motorhome for your mother and me. Elise looked down. Trevor said, Dad, we already said. I'm talking now. He stopped. For years I told myself I was helping. I told myself a father steps in. A father fills gaps. A father makes sure his children don't fall too hard. But somewhere along the way, help turned into habit. Habit turned into expectation. Expectation turned into entitlement. I opened the binder. This only counts money paid after you each turn 25. I did not include food, clothes, childhood medical bills, school supplies, birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, or anything a parent is supposed to provide. I want that understood before either one of you starts pretending I charged you for being children. Neither spoke. Good. I turned the first page. Trevor, boat storage, country club dues, business shortfalls, credit card bailouts, phone lines, insurance gaps, Parker's private coaching, 2 mortgage rescue payments, and the loan you never repaid after the lake house investment failed. His jaw tightened. Elise. Car support, business software, emergency tax payments, townhouse repairs, insurance, phone, web services, storage units, credit card minimums, and the $38,000 I gave you when you said your divorce would ruin you. Her eyes filled immediately. I slid the summary sheet across the coffee table. Read the bottom line. Trevor picked it up. His eyes moved fast at first, then slower. Elise leaned in. Linda watched them over her folded hands. Trevor swallowed. This can't be right. It is. Elise whispered, 846,000? $846,219. Not over your whole lives. Not from birth. From adulthood. Money that could have sat in our retirement, gone to your mother's care, gone to travel, gone to charity, or simply stayed where I earned it. Trevor put the paper down. I didn't know it was that much. No, I said. You didn't. Because I made comfort invisible. Elise wiped her cheek. Dad, I never asked you to keep track like this. You didn't have to. The bank did. That landed hard. I leaned forward. The two of you saw a motorhome and thought about what it might cost you one day. Not what it meant to your mother, not what it meant to me. Not the fact that I may have 10 good years left, if God is generous. You thought about inheritance, Trevor said. That's not fair. It's accurate. He looked away. I picked up the trust documents. Here is what happens now. The payments stay canceled, permanently. Your mother and I are taking our trip in October. We are going to Arkansas first, then Oklahoma, then New Mexico, then Arizona. I am going to stand at the Grand Canyon with my wife before my legs forget how. Linda covered her mouth. I heard her breath shake. The trust is done. It protects your mother first. If I go before her, no one talks her into selling this house, draining accounts, co-signing loans, or funding anybody's lifestyle. Not you, not spouses, not grandchildren. Nobody. Elise started to speak, but I raised one finger. When both of us are gone, there are conditions. Trevor, you must maintain steady employment or documented business income for 2 years. Elise, your business must show 18 months of positive cash flow, or you must hold a steady job during that period. Both of you must complete a financial counseling program. Not because I think you're stupid, because I think you were protected from consequences too long, and I helped do that. Trevor gave a bitter laugh. So we have to prove ourselves to get our own inheritance. No, I said. You have to prove you can handle a gift you did not earn. His face changed color. Elise whispered, What if we can't? Then, the money waits. If you contest it, the money leaves. Leaves where? Trevor asked. Veterans housing, trade school scholarships, grandchildren's education accounts, places where it can still do good. Elise stared at me. You would give our inheritance to strangers? I looked at her for a long moment. There it is again. She blinked. Our inheritance, I said. Your mother is sitting right there, alive and breathing. I am sitting right here, alive and breathing, and you are already dividing the money. Linda spoke then. Her voice was soft, but it did not shake. Elise, listen to your father. Elise turned toward her. Mom? Linda sat straighter. We have loved you both. We have helped too much. We have been afraid that if we stopped paying, you would stop coming. That is not love. That is fear. And I am tired of being afraid of my own children. That did what my binder could not. It broke the room. Trevor looked stunned. Elise looked wounded, but underneath that wound was anger. So that's it? Elise said. You too had some little retirement awakening and now we're the villains? No, I said. You are not villains. You are adults. That is what seems to be upsetting you. Trevor stood. I can't believe this. I stayed seated. I know. You sat here and built a case against us. I built a mirror. He pointed toward the driveway, toward the motorhome. I hope that thing is worth it. Linda stood before I could answer. Trevor Allen Whitaker, she said, and every childhood memory in that room sat up straight. That thing is the first dream your father has bought for himself since before you were born. You will not speak of it like it is a crime. Trevor's mouth opened, then closed. Elise grabbed her purse. I'm leaving. She walked out first. Trevor hesitated. For a second, I saw the boy who used to sit beside me in the service van eating gas station peanuts while I drove to emergency calls. I saw him wanting to say something decent and not knowing how. Then he followed his sister. The door closed. Linda and I sat in the quiet. No one cried right away. Then she reached for my hand. We still going to Arizona? She asked. I squeezed her fingers. Yes, ma'am. 3 months later, we were standing on the south rim of the Grand Canyon with the wind pulling at Linda's scarf and the sun turning the rocks gold. She cried when she saw it. I did too, though I blamed the wind. Our grandson Parker sent us a text that said, Grandpa, the bus looks awesome. Send pictures. I sent him 20. Trevor did not call for 6 weeks. When he finally did, he was not warm, but he was not cruel. He had sold the boat. He left the country club. He and Dana moved Parker from private coaching to a local team run by volunteers. He said, I'm figuring it out. like the words hurt his mouth. I told him, "That's good, son." Elise took longer. She sent Linda a few messages that sounded like apologies but still had invoices hiding between the lines. Linda did not bite. I was proud of her for that. In January, Elise called me herself. She had sold the Lexus and bought a used Honda CR-V. She had taken a part-time job with a furniture store while keeping her staging clients on weekends. "I'm embarrassed," she said. "You'll live," I told her. She laughed once, then cried. "I'm sorry about the motorhome, Dad." That one sounded real. I looked out the kitchen window at that Winnebago parked beside the garage, dusty from 6 states and 3,200 miles. "I forgive you," I said. "But forgiveness is not a payment plan." "I know," she whispered. And I think maybe she did. The trust stayed exactly as it was. The payment stayed canceled. Linda and I kept traveling when the weather was good and staying home when our bones told us to. Some Sundays the kids came by. Some Sundays they didn't. But when they came because they wanted dinner, not because their comfort depended on my bank account clearing on Monday. That is a different kind of peace. So, brothers and sisters, if you have spent your life being the cushion under everybody else's fall, listen to an old man who learned late. Love your children. Help them when help is truly needed. Give them wisdom, give them encouragement, give them a place at your table, but do not give them your dignity. Do not let them call your dreams selfish while their bills are still wearing your name. I did not stop being a father when I stopped paying. I became one again. Love is strongest when it helps people grow, not when it quietly buys their comfort forever. Harold's journey reminds us that family can heal when love is paired with honesty, gratitude, and healthy boundaries. It is never too late to reclaim a dream, teach responsibility, and still leave the door open for forgiveness, warmth, and better days together.